Okay, so today we will see the next 5 questions for the PD exam, that is the professional data engineering exam. So we will see like question number 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So let's see. So in question number 11, what is it? You are designing a basket abandonment system for an e-commerce economy. Okay, the system will send a message to a user based on these rules. No interaction by user on the site for 1 hour. He added more than $30 worth of product to the basket. He has completed the transaction. You use Google Cloud Data Flow to process the data and decide if messages should be sent. How should you design that pipeline? Okay, so basically, like in this question, it has been asked. Let's suppose you have the like Amazon or the Flipkart or any e-commerce website, right? So might be like what they want to do is they want to develop a system, such system like they will send a message to the user if, let's suppose, the user logged into the website but did not perform any activity for 1 hour. So then they will like send a message that like you are like inactive or some other message, or they will send the message if, let's suppose, we generally like added the item into the cart, right? So if user added the item more than $30 into the cart, or you can say the basket, but he has not completed the transaction, so he did not perform the checkout, right? So they are like thinking about to developing a system. So they told that okay, we will use the cloud data flow to process the data, right? So to process the data means like they will took the user data. How they will took the user data? So user will like interact with the website. So like the data will be sent into the database. Okay, I click on this, whether I added the item or not, at what time I will added the item. So they will like use the data cloud data flow. Cloud data flow is basically the GCP service, which is basically used to like to take the data from one source and to perform some operation like to process the data, to transform the data, and then to store into some storage. So how should you design the pipeline? Okay, so they told that, so the 4 option is given. So let's say, so use a fixed time window with the duration of 60 minutes. Okay, use a sliding time window with the duration of 60 minutes. Use a session window with a gap duration of 60 minutes. Use a global window with a time based trigger with a delay of 60 minutes. So in the cloud data flow, generally we have the 3 window concept. One is the fixed window concept, one is the second is the sliding window, and the third is the session window. Let me show you. And the answer of this question is a session window. But before going to directly to the answer, let me show you the Windows concept. So this is the data flow official documentation of the data flow, and these are the streaming pipeline. The streaming pipelines means we continuously get the data. So here the pipeline is the streaming pipeline only, right? Because we will get the continuous data, like if the anytime the like the user can interact with the website. So let me show you. So we have the 3 window concept. One is the fixed window, second is the sliding window, and third is called the session window. So in the fixed window, what we will do is we will like make a fixed window duration. Like let's for the first 30 seconds we have created a window 0. Then for the next 30 seconds we will create a window 1. Then for the next 30 seconds we will create a window 2. So what we will basically do, so whatever the data we will get in the first 30 seconds we will process it. Then whatever the data we will get in the next 30 seconds we will process it. So this is the fixed window. Next is the sliding window concept. So as part of the sliding window concept, 1 minute, let me close this notification. Okay, as part of the sliding window concept, so we will take a, let's suppose, the window size of 60 seconds. So we will take the data for the first 60 second, then we will take a 30-second window period. So we will took the data for the next 60 seconds, but we will the window will be overlap with the previous window. So this is the sliding window. So one window will overlap the previous window, but in the above case the window is not getting overlapped. And the third is the session window concept. Again it gets stuck. System got hanged. I'm unable to click. Most of the time it happen. It is because of that notification. Let's wait. Oh, let's see if I'm able to pause the video. Okay, the third one is the session window concept. So in the session window concept, what we will do is so session window contains an element with a gap duration. So we will took a one window, and when we will took some gap, then we will took a second window, then we will took some gap, then we will took third window, right? So here our scenario is we need to find the user interaction if user do not do any interaction for 1 hour. So that means let's suppose the user did the interaction, and then for 1 hour user did not do any interaction. So that is as for first hour we user did the interaction, so that means we get the data. And for the next 1 hour he didn't perform any any interaction, right, with the e-commerce website, and we didn't, there is no data. And then again for the next 1 hour he perform any transaction. So we will use this session window gap, session window. So use a session time window with the duration of a what happened. So we can't use the fixed time window with the duration of 60 minutes. So if we use the fixed time window, so the first 60 minutes, then 60 minutes, then 60 minutes, how we will get to know that whether the user is inactive for 1 hour or not. So if we use this 60-second as session window, then if within the 60 seconds if we did not get any data, so it means the user is inactive. So we will use the session window concept. So option is C, and most of the people answer in the discussion community as C. So even as per me, answer should be C. So the next question is, your company handles data processing for a number of different clients. So there are number of clients, and we took the data from their end, and we store the data into Google BigQuery, and then client will access the Google BigQuery to fetch the particular data. So we need to design a system. We need to make sure how we will secure the client data, so that one client can't access the other data, because our company handle processing of a number of client data. So let's suppose we have the client 1, client 2, client 3, client 4, and we have one company. So we will take the client 1 data and we will store in the Google query. We will take the client 2 data and we will store in the Google query, Google BigQuery. We will take the client 3 data and we will store in the Google BigQuery. Now we need to make sure the client 1 only access his data, but he is unable to access the client 2, client 3 data. So we need to like some kind of security like or restriction we want to implement. So how we will do that? So we have like 6 options available and we need to choose 3. Alright. So first option, they told load data into the different partitions. So if we load data into different partitions, so generally partition we will use for the like faster response or the faster processing. Partition does not has any relation for the access. So whether we load the data into the different partitions or not, one client still like able to see the other client data. Like we are not putting any restriction. So A is wrong. Let's see the second option, load data into a different data set. So we know when we load the data into the BigQuery, we will create a one data set, and under that data set we will create a tables, right? So they told that okay, what we will do is we will create a different data set for one client. So for client 1 we will create a one data set, and under that particular data set all the data for the one client will be stored, and we will create a second data set for the second client. We will create a third data set for the third client. So that option will perfectly work. So we will create a different data set, and we will put the restriction on the data set itself. So that option will definitely work. The third option is put each client's BigQuery data set into a different table. So they told that okay, what we will do is put each client's BigQuery data set into a different table. Data set into a table or table into a data set. Okay, I think like they are saying that rather than like using the different data set, we will use a single data set, and we will use a different tables. So let's suppose that in the table 1 we will put the client 1 data, in the table 2 we will put the client 2 data, in the table 3 we will put the client 3 data. So that will also work. But let's see, before like marking the option B and C, let's look at the other options. Restrict a client dataset to approved user. So if we like load the like if we choose the option B, then option D is also correct, because we are creating a different dataset for the each client and we are restricting the dataset based on the users. Now option E, only allow a service account to access the dataset. So they told that rather than the user with his own ID, what we will do is we will allow a service account. So this is totally wrong. So we have to restrict the data. It doesn't mean that the user only access the data using some service account, that is using some code or some APIs. And even the service account means like if one like the other user can also use the same service account and can access the data. So this is also wrong. And the sixth option is use the IAM, that is the identity and access management, for each client user. So we have the different user, we will like assign the roles. So that is also correct. So for as per me, option B is correct, option D is correct, and option F is correct. So we have to select 3 options. So these are correct. Option C could be correct, but B is much preferred than the option C, because when we create a different data set, so we have to put the restriction only on the data set level, right? If we create a different table, so let's suppose for one client there are 20 tables, so we have to put the restriction on multiple tables. And also like on the data set, like we can put like any type of restriction, but on the table I think like there are some restriction only, like we put a limited set of restrictions. So B, D, that is to create a different data set, to restrict the data set, and to create a roles for the user. So B, D and F are the correct options. So and also like most of the people say in the discussion tab, that is the B, D, F. Let's go to the question number 13. So in the question number 13, they told that you want to process a payment transaction in the point of sale application. So point of sale application, like generally you see like when you do some shopping, so there is a point of sale application, right? So the where we usually do the payment via the like debit card or credit card, there is a machine, right? So your user base could grow exponentially. So but you do not want to manage infrastructure scaling. So they told that like we have one application, point of scale application, where the user come and do the some payment transaction, and users are growing very exponentially, and but we don't want to manage the infrastructure scaling. Let's suppose if the user get increase, so the database, the CPU and everything will automatically like increase, right? We don't want to manually like manage the data, like the infrastructure. Like if the user base increase, we will come and like we will like order the CPU and attach the CPU with our application, or maybe the storage. So we don't want to do this, we want the automatic scaling. So they have given 4 options. So they told that okay, if we want the automatic scaling and we want the transaction system, right? So out of which, like we have so many database service, so which database we will use? So whether we use Cloud SQL, BigQuery, Bigtable or Cloud Data Store. So let's first eliminate the options. So we will not use the BigQuery, because BigQuery is generally a warehouse which is used for the analysis purpose, not the transaction purposes. So BigQuery is the online analytics platform, not the online transaction platform. But here we need to perform the transaction. So option B is totally wrong. Okay, let's see the option C. So Cloud Bigtable. So Cloud Bigtable is the NoSQL database, right? And it also stores a very large amount of data, but it is generally like used for like stock exchanges, for the time series data, for the marketing data, for the internet of things, like where we have to store the like sensor information, like the mobile data, right? So option D is like option C. Option C is like we will not consider the Cloud Bigtable. Now option A and option D. Cloud SQL, we always know like for any payment transaction, like Cloud SQL is like definitely the good answer, right? That is the relation database. But they have mentioned you do not want to manage the infrastructure scaling, and in the Cloud SQL we like we have to manually do the scaling. But like we have the 2 options, like one is the Cloud SQL, one is the Cloud Spanner. Cloud Spanner, like in the Cloud Spanner we don't need to manage the infrastructure. That is, we can automatically, there is a horizontal scaling and there is a vertical scaling. But in the Cloud SQL, like we have to manage the infrastructure. So let's see the Cloud Data Store. So Cloud Data Store is also the one of the service, but now its name is the Cloud Firestore. So Cloud Firestore is like one of the advanced version of the Cloud Data Store. So Cloud Data Store is also a NoSQL or document based database, but it is also used for the transaction which is based on the ACID properties. So that is the ACID properties, means whether the transaction will be success or whether it will be failure. It should not be in the middle. So Cloud Data Store is ideal for those application. So it also like it is, first thing is that it is scalable, right? So this statement is like satisfying, because we don't want to scale. So in the Cloud Data Store we don't like manage the infrastructure, it is automatically scaling. Second thing is that we want to perform the transaction, right? So Cloud Data Flow also like support the transaction based on the ACID property. So as per me, Cloud Data Store is the best option, but they have mentioned Cloud SQL. If I go to the discussion tab, as I earlier told you that don't go with the answer like which is provided by the website. It could be right or it could be wrong. If I go to the discussion tab, so most of the people say that the Cloud Data Store, but some people say that the Cloud SQL as well, right? So if you see, like these people say that the option D, that is the Cloud Data Store. So it says the Cloud Data Store. I also mentioned Cloud Data Store, but these people said the Cloud SQL, right? Then another people say cloud data store, one people say cloud SQL, right? But most of the people say that the cloud data store is the correct option and with the proper explanation. So even as per me, the cloud data store is the like the best option as per me. But still like it is a confusing between the option A and option D. But if the question came in front of me, I will definitely go with the cloud data store. So now it's up to you whether you want to go with the cloud SQL or with the cloud data store. Okay, let's go to the last two question. Question number 14. You want to use a database of information about tissue samples to classify future. This is basically a machine learning question. So they told that okay, we have some tissue samples and we want to predict whether the particular tissue is normal or the mutated. So we have to use the unsupervised anomaly detection. So anomaly detection means, right, so we collected some tissue samples and we have to like identify whether this tissue sample is normal or whether this is mutated. Mutated means whether like the sequence changes, whether it has virus or not, you can say. So which two characteristics support this method? So we have the 5 options and we have to choose any 2 options. So let's go one by one and let's try to eliminate the option first. So they told that okay, there are few occurrences of, okay, let's try to eliminate. So okay, there are very few occurrence of mutations related to the normal samples. So as per me, option A is correct, because generally if you see in the live situation as well, if I give you the data set, so most of the peoples have the tissue samples are normal, only few tissue samples are the mutated. So let's suppose the few people have some disease, but most of the people don't have the disease, right? So this could be the one of the characteristics generally in the unsupervised anomaly detection. So in the anomaly detection, if you even Google it, the anomaly detection, let me Google it. Say in the anomaly detection, it is clearly mentioned anomaly detection is identification of rare items. That is the rare items, right? So mutations are generally very rare. So it means the data occurrence of mutations are very low and rather than the normal database. So as per me, option A is definitely correct. So there are few occurrence of mutations related to the normal sample, because in the anomaly detection as well, like we have to identify the rare items, so which occurs very rarely, like maybe 1 out of 100. So if it is 1 out of 100, then definitely like the sample is like a disbalance, right? So we have the very low sample of the mutation and very high sample of the normal people. Okay, so as per me, option A is definitely correct. So this characteristics definitely match for the anomaly detection and the unsupervised model. Second option is there are roughly equal occurrence. So this is totally wrong. It could not be the equal occurrence. Now go with the option number C. You could expect future mutations to have different feature from the mutated sample in the database. Okay, they told that there could be like chances that in the future in our database in the future the tissue get again mutated. So there could be chances, right? So like earlier we have a like a database of normal people and the mutation people. Let's suppose the mutation type A mutation. Now there could be a chances that like generally we know that the virus generally get mutated every time. Earlier it is of type A mutation, then automatically like it changes its DNA structure and it become the type B mutation. So they told that can we expect the future mutation to have a different future from the mutated sample in the database? So as per me, option C is correct. Now option D is you expect the future mutation to have similar features. So they told that you will always expect in the unsupervised learning and the anomaly detection that the future mutation always be the similar as per our earlier database. I don't think so. The option D is correct. The option is you already have the labels for which samples are mutated. So this is definitely wrong because it is given then the unsupervised anomaly so detection. So in the anomaly supervised detection we don't have the concept of the labels. So as per me option A is correct and the option C is correct, but answer is given the option B and C. So B is definitely wrong. As per me option A and C is correct. Let's see what people said. So as per most of the people, they said that A and D is correct, and a few people also said that A and C is correct. Like these people also said A and C is correct. I also said A and C is correct. These people also said A and C is correct. But these people said A and D is correct, and most of the people like upvoted this, like 25 times upvoted these people A and D. So some people say A and C, A C, some people say A D, some people say A D, most of the people say A D, and most of the people say A D. So there is a confusion between like A is definitely correct, but there is a confusion between the option C and D, whether we have to go with option C and option D. So they told that like because we are thinking as per like a normal scenario, right? If we think as per the like normal scenario or the live scenario, then option C is correct, because generally the mutations get mutated in some another mutation. Like earlier it is type A mutation, then it might be changed to the type B mutation. So we could expect future mutation to have different features, right? But some people told that no, it should be the similar features, so the mutation will not change and should have the similar features. Because like they told that like we have already trained the model, and so we should expect that the mutation should be the similar, so that our model can identify. So they give the explanation of the D on basis of this, but I will go with the option A and option C. Now you have to decide whether you will select A and C or A and D. Now let's see question number 15. Question number 15 says you need to store and analyze social media posting in the Google BigQuery. Okay, so they told that okay, what we need to do, we have this social media post. We need to store the social media post into the Google BigQuery database with the rate of 10,000 messages per minute in the near real time. So let's suppose a user posted, so in a real time only we will like took the post and we will store into the database. Initially the design on application to use the streaming insert for post. One second. Initially design the application to use streaming insert for individual postings. Your application also perform data aggregation right after the streaming inserts. Okay, you discover that the queries after streaming insert do not exhibit. Okay, so they told that initially design the application. We need to design the application that took streaming insert. Streaming insert means that is the real time insert. So we don't have a data already available, but the data is coming as a live time only. So it is a streaming insert. So in a form of streams it is coming, and we also have the facility to like to store the data, right? But we have noticed that like let's suppose there are 1,000 posts, right? We notice that like only 900 posts we have inserted, but 100 get missed. So they told that while doing the streaming insert, what we did is like we missed a few data, like that is the in-flight data. In-flight data means like as soon as like it is coming, and we try to insert but we missed, because it is like let's suppose we read one data and we try to insert one data in the same time the second data came, and we miss the data, and then third data came, then we read the third data. So in the between we miss the second data. So they told that it has been noticed that we are missing the few data. So how you can adjust your application design? So we have given 4 options. So they told that okay, do one thing, rewrite the application to load accumulated data every 2 minutes. So they told that do one thing, redesign the whole application, all right, to accumulate data every 2 minutes. So they told that okay, once the data came, accumulate it for 2 minutes, then write the data. Then again the data came, then accumulate the data for the 2 minutes, then write the data. But I don't think so this is the the correct option, because in this also we may miss a lot of data. Okay, then they told that convert the streaming data into the batch load. This is totally wrong, because we have the streaming application. This is like totally going against our requirement. They told that convert the streaming data into the batch. No, load the original message to the cloud SQL and then load into the BigQuery. So this is also wrong. They told that first, rather than directly loading into the BigQuery, first load into the cloud SQL, then load into the BigQuery. If we load into the cloud SQL, then again we can miss the data. Whether we load into the BigQuery, whether we load into the cloud SQL, we definitely may miss the data. So they are not giving us the design or the solution how we can prevent the missing of the data. So option C is wrong, option B is wrong. So B and C definitely eliminated. Let's see option D. Estimate the average latency of the data availability after streaming insert and always runs query after waiting twice as long. So they told that okay, do one thing, estimate the latency of data availability. So after what time the data is generally available after the streaming insert, and run the query after some do the waiting time. So it is basically same as of option A and option D. Option A and option D is almost closely related. Option A says that first accumulate the data for 2 minutes and then load. So that is we have the fixed window of 2 minutes, right? But here we don't have any fixed window, right? So it could be that the data is available during the late duration, right? So we will just estimate the data and we will run the query based upon after some waiting time. So as per me, option D is most relevant out of the 4 options. If you go to the discussion tab, so most of the people say option D, but 1 or 2 people say the option A is correct. But I will go with the option D. Okay, why option D? Because if I go with option A, accumulate the data and then load the data after 2 minutes, that is the fixed time duration. So there could be chances as well that we might miss the data as well. So yeah, so we have covered the 5 questions. Yeah, so that's the end of the video. So the thing again I want to highlight that all the answers which I am giving as part of this video is purely based on my knowledge, based on the solution which is given on the website, and based on the the discussion tab, what people say, and based on my research on the some documents available on the Google. But I might be wrong because we don't have any correct answers available. So before going with the answer which I have mentioned in this video, so do some research at your end as well. So if you find that my answer is wrong, so you can correct me and tell me in the comment section. But try to explain, try to give the answer with some justification as well, why I am wrong and why the other option is correct. Okay, thank you.